Well, good morning and welcome to that Kentuckessee Angler Show. My name's Andrew and today we're doing some early fall bank fishing. Generally when I make these videos, we'll take one bait. We'll get into how to rig it, how to fish it, different techniques, that sort of deal. We'll give it a solid rating after hammering out a couple fish on it. Today, we are not doing that. The bite in my area has been extremely tough. It gets like that sometimes. We'll get into more of that as this video progresses, as we start catching some fish. However, today we're gonna be working 3 different lures, 3 different presentations, ones that really work for me this time of year from the bank when you're kind of struggling during those early fall conditions. We're gonna be working with a search bait, a finesse presentation, and a Texas rig for those heavy covered up areas, something a little more weedless. The area we're working with today is a phenomenal largemouth fishery, though it does hold other species. We have spotted bass, smallmouth bass, and a wide array of other fish that will be willing to eat our baits today. However, the bite has been tough. This area is not an exception. Let's get these baits on the water. Let me introduce you to our first one. So it's nearly 8 a.m. I got out here a little later than I wanted to. However, the area we're starting out in is typically pretty good in the mornings. It usually runs all right till about 9 a.m. Once that sun gets way up there and it starts heating up, this area really dies off. So I wanted to check it off our list bright and early. We're gonna be starting out with our search bait to kind of feel out this bite. I've selected a lipless crankbait. This is a 1/4 ounce cotton cordell super spot. Now, not all lipless crankbaits are created equal. I absolutely love the way this one runs. It tends to run higher in the water column, which is very, very effective when you're bank fishing. This water doesn't get super deep, and I'm not necessarily trying to run on bottom the entire time. It's just gonna cause me a lot of snags. We're working with maybe this area topping out at 7 feet. I think it's more likely right now with our current water levels that we're sitting somewhere between an average of like 3 to 5 feet out here. It's also a very affordable lipless. It's a fraction of the price of the majority of name brand lipless crankbaits you can get out here, and I like that too. It's not ultra heartbreaking when you do break off. Now let's get this out on the water, my friends, and see what we can do. We're gonna throw a few casts in this area, kind of feel it out, then we're gonna hop over here where we have a really, really nice point. Hopefully we're able to knock that skunk off. Oh yeah, right here. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Oh my gosh, that's a good sign. I swear, the bite's been extremely tough. I've tried to make 3 different videos this week and have not caught a lot of fish. That's a good first fish. Good sign, man. And always gotta be super careful unhooking fish with these baits. Any like double or triple trebled bait. Great hook on her though. I do like these 1/4 ounce sized ones. Well, one con is that fish will choke these a little bit easier, but a mega pro is that your hookup ratio is a lot better than that larger 1/2 ounce size. That's the other one I use. Well, here we go, our first fish of the day, and a gorgeous little largemouth. Now, this is about on the smaller side for this area, honestly. There are some pretty nice fish here, but it's not a bad one. Let's get her back in. Let's keep going at it. Good start to the day, man. I don't know if that was first cast. I think it was. It's a pretty good sign. I don't believe in that curse of the first cast nonsense. Let's get her back in. Let's see what else we can catch out here. Super pretty one, man. Thank you. Well, that was awesome. We are off to a great start. Now back to the whole search bait concept. Let's throw one out this way, man. It is pretty bright out here today. Pretty clear. Actually, there's a few clouds, but not much. Now, when it comes to these search baits, man, it's anything that I can cover a ton of water with that generates a lot of attention. So for example, your lipless crankbait, this has a loud rattle on it. It also has some nice side flash, man. Just that motion brings them in. I also use spinner baits. I use bladed jigs, that sort of thing. But the lipless is by far my favorite, and it absolutely excels in an area like this where we have a ton of scattered rock. This water is straight up bottom wise, it's muddy and it's rocky, and I really love throwing a lipless in those conditions. It's not without its flaws. It's a very, very snaggy bait. Majority of double treble baits are, but as I mentioned, this does tend to run a little bit higher in the water. You can manipulate it by raising, lowering your rod tip, and by the speed of your retrieve. Kind of avoid some of those snags, but it's inevitable. This is definitely a bait where I'd recommend bringing a few with you. I would be shocked if we don't lose at least one out here today if we end up running this a lot. So I'll give y'all a quick look at the Liplesses I brought with me today before we make a quick jump. Now they're all Cordels, they're all that 1/4 ounce size. I do run other Lipless crankbaits. However, for this area, this bait just absolutely excels, and this is by far my favorite and the most useful Lipless crankbait to me. So we have this color right here, our bleeding shad. That's a great all-purpose color. That's what we're throwing today. We got a little bit of white, a little bit of red, black back. It shows up in just about any body of water pretty good. It's really great for the majority of conditions out here. We have our purple chartreuse. I find this one especially effective when I'm dealing with fairly stained water under overcasty conditions. This one right here I like to utilize when that sun's absolutely beaming down, give me a little flash on that water. And last but not least, this is another kind of all-purpose one for me. I buy those when these ones are out of stock, so that's about it. Now let's make a little jump. So we're making our first of many jumps today. We're probably gonna be moving around a lot to this little area right here. Now this stuff is super shallow. It's shallower than it typically is, and we got a nice point that runs out here, kind of like a little bridge of land. We can stand up on it, slopes down on either side. We might hit that area. Right here though, I have a feeling our next fish is gonna come out of this area just from past experience. So generally, if I can pull a fish out of this area right over here, we can pull one here as well. Now this is abnormally shallow. Typically this runs a little bit deeper. However, right now the sediment's all messed up, the bottom's all messed up due to the sheer amount of flooding we've had over this past spring to summer. We are going to be alternating between spinning and casting gear throughout this video, and a lot of videos I make, I don't have too much of a preference. When it comes to this bait, I will almost certainly run it on casting gear. In fact, I probably wouldn't have a very good time running it on spinning gear, mainly because of that higher gear ratio. This is a 7.1, so it's not crazy fast, but I prefer a 6 to 7 when I am working crankbaits of any kind, really, man. It's just it's comfortable for me to work that bait, to reel that bait in. Rod wise, we're running a medium heavy. This is a 7'6" moderate fast action. I love the moderate fast action for square bills and lipless crankbaits. I do like a slower rod for my divers. I'll typically go glass when I am throwing a diving crankbait, which I don't fish all that often due to me really mainly doing a lot of bank fishing. So we're on the move to a spot I know pretty well and typically some pretty productive water. I don't know what the bite's gonna be like today. Little real-time update for you. I got some dogs going crazy somewhere along this path. A lot of dog walkers here, a lot of awesome people. However, we've been on the water for about an hour and a half. I hit another spot, couldn't pull anything. We hung out at that first one for about an hour, and we're on our way to our next location, which is right down here. There's no use in staying put today. It looks like we're gonna have to work for them. So unless we find a pretty hitting spot, we're gonna be on the move a lot. And while I do wanna hit a lot of this water, a lot of this open stuff, we're gonna go ahead and fast forward to the point where we hopefully pull one without fishing around too long. Oh, big spider web, man. Right down here, this kind of covered up area. Now the water is low, as I've mentioned, but I did pull a 5-pounder out of this area pretty recently, and there's a chance there's another big one sitting there right now, so we might as well hit it. All right, so we're gonna throw around our Texas rig. I'll show y'all what we're working with in a second. Very eager to get this bait in the water. I'm really hoping this is like a first cast bite. They do tend to stage up here from time to time. We're just gonna run this pretty slow. There we go, fish on. First cast. Oh, a decent one. Oh, man. Little jumper. I doubt this camera picked it up. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff, man. I was hoping they'd be here. Threw on a very dark bait. It's black and blue. Craw. I'll show y'all once we get this fish in, man. Don't want to lose this one. Actually running fairly light line on both of these bait casters. They're both 150 size, but I like running light line. Just a personal preference. This is 10 pound. It fits the 1/8 ounce sinker very, very well along with the plastic. Come on in. Beautiful RG. Man, she's got a lot of fight in her. Not to mention we got a little bit of wind on the water. Let's stop blabbing, man. This fish battle's not over yet. There we go. Absolutely gorgeous. Now that's a fish, man. That is a decent sized largie. Well, there we go, my friends. Our first really decent fish of the day. She's super pretty. Look at the coloring on her. Just look at that shade of green. Very, very healthy looking largemouth. Let's get her back in. Well, thank you for biting and giving me some hope on this pretty difficult day. I mean, so far, I guess it's not too bad. We haven't been out here all that long. So we just pulled that biddy on the 6 cent stroker craw. Good looking craw. Here's a look at her. I love that color, man. It absolutely pops. It's like some black with blue flake. That's more or less why I selected this one today. So I got a big old bag of mixed baits. Well, this is a 6 cent stroker craw bag. I only have one right here. This is just a variety of baits I've accumulated making these videos. I end up with a lot of half bags of baits, and I'm jumping at the opportunity to get them out on the water and get them utilized. So I was running that bait on a 3/0 extra wide gap hook with a 1/8 ounce bullet sinker. If you're unfamiliar with the Texas rig, let me show you how to rig one right now. Very easy. You take that hook point, put it through the butt. It's super windy, probably messing with the audio. You want to poke that through. You want to poke that through right at about the bend of that hook. You're going to get it up, cover the eye as much as possible. It tends to help with snags out here. Then you're going to line your bait up with your hook. That's where she's going to be sitting. That's where we want to poke our hook through. Man, it got windy in a hurry just when we're trying to film some me talking in front of the camera where I actually need audio stuff. But you're going to line that up, make a mental note, poke that hook through. There you go. And we're just going to tuck that point and get her back out on the water. So it looks like this wind's starting to chill out, which is absolutely awesome. I marked about 8 miles per hour tops this morning, so hopefully that just kind of blew on through. It doesn't take much to stir up this water. One good bass boat really makes it unfishable for about 5 minutes. Very, very muddy bottom. So this time of year, man, it's like late September into early October. Can be really challenging from the bank, especially in my area here in the Southeast. At least in winter, I know where these fish are gonna be. I'm able to pattern them. Here, very, very unpredictable. Some days you'll have absolutely stellar days. Some days you'll get completely skunked. We're dealing with slowly decreasing temperatures. It's a bit warmer than it has been. Our lows are a bit higher than they typically are. As a bank angler, I base a lot of my success off of reading this water, being able to tell what these fish are going to be eating, where they're going to be sitting, that sort of thing, which I kind of accumulate that knowledge, one, from firsthand experience, two, from my logs that I keep. And our conditions are completely different than they have been, really temp-wise and water level-wise. So right now, our water is about standard level. However, we had 2 major flooding events and a couple minor ones that just kind of played on those major floods out here to where roads where people were getting rescued. It was absolutely wild. We're hung, man. That's all she wrote, man. One of the reasons why this spot is so awesome is because of the abundance of cover, the abundance of little rocks down there, which is also a worthy adversary. So back on to what we were talking about, really. The water stayed high for the majority of the summer, up until about a week and a half ago, and these fish are still not used to it yet. Well, what should we use? This is going to pop for sure. Actually did pretty well in this area with this bait. We're going to throw this one. This is a H2OX craw by Academy. So we posted up in that area for longer than I'd like to admit. We're walking into the lake. Actually going to hit a couple other spots. We're going to return to that one. That's the plan. All right, so we're making a switch to our Finesse setup. I'm trying to talk fairly quietly because there might be fish right up in front of us up on these rocks. I just saw a little bait bust as well. This is a 2.75-inch Strike King Bitsy Tube. I like small profile tubes when it comes to Finesse. I don't think these fish see it that much, and they absolutely get hammered when they won't eat your Texas rigs, won't eat your moving baits, that sort of deal. I've caught a lot of fish on this bait. It's weighted down with a 1/8 ounce Eagle Claw tube head jig. I did rig all of these at home, so I don't have any of the tube head jigs on me right now. I'll show you after the fishing part of this video though. Let's get this in the water. Let's see what we can do. So this is pretty mucky. Our bait is like right on par with that stainage, maybe just a little bit lighter, but we have a lot of rock right over here. We're gonna be cruising over, and while this is a snaggier bait, it has an exposed hook. It's fairly easy to pop off a rock when you can kind of walk around it like we can out here. We're gonna throw some just right out here where I just saw some bait bust, and we're gonna work our way just around this area, kind of finessing it. We will alternate baits if need be. Caught a lot of fish on this bait, and we'll absolutely clean up tanks, and we'll catch bigs just as well. Great multi-species lure. I've caught a lot of fish cracking tubes. Oh, there we go. Fish on, fish on, fish on. Oh, She stink. Okay, y'all saw that fish. We definitely just pulled one. Okay, good stuff, man. They could see the bait. That was one of my big concerns, man. This water's pretty mucky. So we're making yet another jump and we're arriving right now. That wind is absolutely rough, man. It's really stained up this water. Doesn't take much, as I mentioned earlier. However, we're gonna cut down here. There's a nice little spot to try for, and then possibly make a jump to where this video began at. That area is gonna be sheltered from this wind right now. There's two ways to get down here. The dangerous way, the fast way, or walking through the woods, but we're gonna go with the fast way. We'll sidestep it. Should have utilized 2 straps for this. Okay. There we go. There we go, and here we are. This spot absolutely slams when the water level is a bit higher. So we are gonna start out with our T-rig, man. This area is a bit snaggy. And let's make a switch to our tube. Not my optimal choice, but this might be the only thing I can get him to eat here. No, we're not going to be throwing that Lipless just due to the fact that we'll lose that thing in 2 seconds. This one I can at least pop free. Oh, there we go, fish on. Nice, nice, nice. Little fella, that's something different. This is a spotted bass. Perfect hook too, went for that tube. Now the way you can differentiate these fish from your largemouth, these spotted bass, especially when they're at the smaller size, is by right below their lateral line. That belly, at least in my area, is typically very bright white. They also have this kind of checkered barred pattern. You can feel around on their tongue. You can actually kind of see it in there, that brown patch. That's a little tooth patch right there, and generally these spots will have a pretty significant one. Now let's get this back and let's see if we can pull another, man. Tube came through. We threw that Texas rig around for a good 5 minutes, made that switch and got bit almost instantly. Sometimes finesse is the answer. These fish also tend to have pretty bright red eyes. Again, that's at least in my area. There are different strains of spotted bass. We have our northern spots here, so you're working with your northern spotted bass. They tend to run smaller than your largemouth, though they can get decent size. They can put up a fight, man. I think the largest one I've caught is maybe in the upper 3-pound range. Those fish are native here. People generally don't like them in their fisheries. I mean, they are invasive when introduced, obviously, to a body of water. They don't naturally occur, and I don't even know why I had to say that. However, they tend to reproduce a bit quicker than largemouth do, and at a younger age, leading to a lot of smaller bass. They will outcompete your largemouth as well. There we go. Nice fish. Nice fish. Oh, the old tube. That's a decent one. It's not huge. It's fighting pretty hard though. I honestly, I really can't tell. It's definitely pulling. It might be decent. Oh, it's all right. It's decent. There we go. Largy. Well, there we go, guys. Take a look at her. Absolutely beautiful one. She's not too bad. She's healthy, very plump. Love the coloring on her. Let's get her back in. Another little tube muncher. Thank you so much. I'll appreciate it. You're the best. All right, my friends, so we are down to the wire. I have been fishing this area about a half hour. We have pulled a couple fish here. I got about 25 minutes left. Now, the real hard question is, do we jump to where this video began at, or do we tough it out here? I've been thinking about it for a while. We're going to stick around this area right now. We have pulled 2 fish out of it. It's the most consistency I've seen all day. Yeah, it's not a lot, especially in a half hour. However, they were decent. That second one was all right, and we got a decent amount of bank to fish. It's got some shade to it. I don't know if that other area is going to be hitting. I can tell you one thing, there's no shade over there, which is unpleasant for me, and I do think that's the reason why we're pulling fish here right now. They're into that Finesse tube. They're not really feeling the T-rig. I have been alternating throughout this time I've been fishing here, and this is the only bait we've caught anything on. So we're going to stick it out here and see what we can do. Just kind of fish around the area and hopefully not snag up a million times. That's what we're dealing with right now. There we go, we got it back. Hopefully pull some decent fish out of here. Fish on, good one, good one. Beautiful. This water is super shallow. Felt a bit bigger. She's not small though. It's a good one. Big, another nice healthy largemouth. All right, easy. Super pretty, man. Just check her out. She's absolutely gorgeous. That bite's kind of picking up. I mean, we're in a hitting area now. Got to be thankful for that fish. Let's get her back in. Another decent sized one. They're not huge today, but that's not really a small fish. That's a decent fish for this area. It's about average. Well, I hope y'all have enjoyed the video so far. If you have, drop a like, subscribe. It all helps push the channel and I really greatly appreciate it. It does more than you think. Now, if you're new to the channel, this is the part of the video where we take one of the baits, one of the lures we worked with, we give it a solid look over, a good once over, a pretty deep dive into it actually, and then we give it a rating. I feel it's only fitting we take a look at the lure we caught the most fish on, the Strike King Bitsy Tube. The Bitsy Tube has a length of 2.75 inches and weighs in at roughly 4.42 grams. Good weight to this little tube right here, man. Very comfortable with that weight range, especially when paired with the 1/8 ounce Eagle Claw tube head jig. I didn't get to show you all this in the video because I had them all pre-rigged, but here's a look at the tube head jig. This is how I prefer to rig this bait. It fits it perfectly. It's actually a very tight fit. That's why I rig these tubes at home, because it can be a pain in the butt to do it on the water, and if you do it a little hastily, if you're not very precise with it, you will absolutely rip these tubes up. The rig's actually really simple, but it is tedious as I mentioned. This tube is completely hollow. Let me try to part these feelers, these tentacles, whatever you want to call them, so y'all can see that right there, man. That is hollow all the way through. And basically you're gonna start out with the eye and you're just gonna shove this up in there, trying to make it as flush as you can with the top of that plastic and poke your eye through. I'm not gonna do it right now because, well, I just really don't want to. It's kind of a pain in the butt, but I will show you the final result. It ends up looking like this, man. So that tube head is like completely concealed in there. You got the eye sticking out, got a hair right there, that's kind of weird, and your hook's right here, man. So you do have a big old exposed hook. I guess it's not super huge, but it's enough to get hung up. It's enough to snag up on some stuff for real. So this bait is not ideal for every condition. If you're working muddier, rockier bottoms like I tend to, I got a lot of that in my area, this bait absolutely excels at it. I mean, you can kind of work it through the grass. Again, you just got to consider you got a big old hook sticking out. So if you are fishing like timber, fallen trees, that sort of thing, there's a good chance you're going to get lodged up in there. You can get that bait hung. Aesthetically, it's pretty simple, man. It's your standard tube, so your hollow body. There's not really much to it, down to your feelers. No complaints right here. I would like to see a better color selection. There's not too many. I like 3 of them. I like this one. There's a couple other colors I tend to fish, but I did buy every one that was available off their website, and I wasn't super impressed. That's just my opinion, though. You might disagree. Go ahead and take a look for yourself. Actually, I just looked at their website, and let me tell you, they only have 2 available. This and one other one I didn't actually click on, so there's not much of a selection at the moment. Now, when it comes to our on-the-water performances, bait absolutely excels. It's phenomenal. 2 thumbs up. I mean, it is what you make it. Really, it's you cracking the tube that's gonna get you bit, but it's got a phenomenal profile. I love the length. That 2.75 inches is perfect to me. Got a really good width, great fall rate when paired with that 1/8 ounce ball head jig, and the feeler's got a nice flap to them. And that brings us to our durability, which is also pretty great. These tubes will last you a good amount if you don't get them hung first. Again, you got that big old exposed hook, but if you crack one of these for a while, I mean, fish aren't really gonna shred them. What ends up happening is that the head of your tube gets worn out. At least this is what happens to me when I'm smacking this on rock, popping it off bottom, banging it up on stuff. Eventually this plastic slowly gets kind of worn away out here, and your tube head jig is just kind of sticking out. In the packaging department, it's plain, it's simple. It's your standard Strike King bag, okay? You got that bright yellow, it really pops. Got that red plain on it, a little ketchup mustard feel to that, and some black edges. Nice little window to your bait. They do have some rigging options on the back right there, that iconic Strike King logo. It is what it is, man. They actually have tube riggings, so they have worms and tube rigging. I imagine these bags are used for both stick baits and tubes, and then they just stick that label on right there. That makes sense to me. Decent packaging. This does come in a 10-pack, right? I've stuffed about a bajillion in here. That's generally what I do. I'll shove a bunch of tubes in one of these bags. But yeah, here's a look at them, just straight up. So decent packaging, right? On to our pricing, my friends. So we're gonna be working with Bass Pro Shops pricing. It's also the same as the Strike King website. That's why I chose this one. You can get them for a little bit cheaper somewhere else. I'll mention that in a second. Actually, you know what? I'm not even gonna promote that company because they raised their prices, and it really turned me off. Anyhow, guys, when it comes down to the price of the Strike King Bitsy Tube, you're looking at $5.99 for a 10-pack. That's gonna be roughly 60 cents per unit right there, and it's a pretty stellar deal. I mean, I'm very partial to these tubes. If you can't tell, it's a bait I'm really passionate about, and I've been fishing for a while. But 60 cents for a soft plastic, that's a good deal, man, especially one of this quality. Yes, it is small. It's not a ton of plastic, but it does come in a 10-pack. I think it's a very fair deal. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and get some good fish on, my friends. I'll see you all for the next one. So I once again forgot to include the rating in this video, so I'm gonna insert it right here. We're gonna give that Strike King Bitsy Tube 5 stars. 5 stars every time. Ain't that right, Mars? I know you agree with me, buddy. You always do. All right. I'll see y'all later. Peace.